Alright, so we're gonna call this Story Time with Uncle Tony. So, a lot of people have asked me in the past 6 months, not a lot of people, 2 people, did I have a unresolved trauma with a female? Like, did you have it, like, was your mom shitty to you? Was, you know, did a female do you wrong? I was like, no. I was like, I can't really think of anything. Well, it dawned on me last night as I'm driving through the middle of BFE in Texas that, yeah, maybe, just maybe, somebody did me wrong prior in life. And I thought about it, and I thought about it. And it boiled down to this. I was a senior in high school. It was 2003. I never had a relationship. I'm 18. Never had a relationship. Never dated anybody. Never had a boyfriend. Never had a girlfriend. The one person that did kind of give me my first kiss was a person that liked to use people. So I didn't really have a lot of experience there. Well, like I said, I was a senior in high school and I needed a job. I was like, I really need a job. So I went to Walmart, and applied for a job there. Got the interview. Well, while I was waiting, these 2 young girls, 2 young women, and we sat down and we started talking. Shook up this lovely conversation, just whatever, I guess life. So, needless to say, I didn't get the job, and needless to say, she didn't get the job. And I was like, I need a job. I was like, I work fast food. I gotta have a job. So, I went and applied at Wendy's. And they gave me the interview, gave me the job. It's like, score. I was like, do I really want to be flipping hamburgers? No. But guess what? It puts insurance on my car and gas in my tank. And that's all I cared about, so I can go. So, go up a couple weeks. I noticed that there was this woman, young woman, whatever, that was working at Wendy's. And I knew she had looked familiar, like I've seen her somewhere before. Like, I'm shitty with names, but once I see her face, it's a lock, right? It's a lock. So, I'm sitting there, and I turned to one of the managers, and I was like, who is that lady? Who is that? I was like, who is that? And they're like, well, that's Amy. And I was like, who's Amy? Somebody that goes to high school. And she had approached me one day, and she was like, I know you from somewhere, right? And I was like, yeah, but I was like, I can't place it. I was like, where did you go to school at? And she's like, well, I go to school in Warren. And I was like, yeah, that wouldn't be it. And then at Walmart like a couple weeks ago? You had like some other lady with you? She's like, yeah. I was like, oh yeah, hey, what's up? And so we started working together. Well, days go on, weeks go by, months go by. It was known to me that she had a thing for me. So I said, cool, whatever. I had a certain type back then, and she was not my type by any means. So I was like, so I go home. She gave me her phone number, and back then it was, the house number, not cell phone. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, my grandfather walks over and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, there's this woman at work, or this girl at work that wants me to call her. And he was like, why? I was like, I don't know. Apparently she likes me. And he's like, well, why don't you call her? I was like, she's not my type. Back then I wasn't into thick women, BBW, heavier set women, whatever. And I was like, she's like, oh, she's big. And I was like, well, that sounds kind of bad to say, but yes, she's not skinny. And my grandfather told me, I was like, but is she a nice person? And I was like, what? He was like, is she nice? Is she a nice person? And I was like, yeah. I was like, she's a nice person. But I was like, he's like, well, then give her a call. What else you got to, what else you have to lose? And I was like, okay, cool. So I call her. I literally sat by the phone for an hour and a half because it didn't have a cordless phone. So all we had was a wired phone, and I was stuck in the seat for an hour and a half. Lo and behold, she we ended up going out. Wait to go see the movie Signs, the Mel Gibson movie, alien shit, whatever stupid ass movie that I saw like 8 times. So after the movie, I'm not quite sure what happened, but I was intrigued, like, by the kind of person she was, and this, that, and the other. So she kept having these issues with this boy that she was either dating or trying to date or trying to get her related. What, I don't know. I don't know the whole full story, or if I did, I forgot. So she'd come in every morning crying, and I was like, are you crying over a dude? You don't get it. I was like, you're right, I don't get it. But I was like, I'm right here. And I'm like, I'm right here. Like, what else, what else do you want from me? So, long story short, we spent the night together. Nothing happened. I don't know what happened after that. I do know that me and my mother got into it. I went in one day and my dad had came down for my graduation, and I was going into Wendy's, and to be like, I'm putting my 2 weeks notice in, I'm moving to Wisconsin. So Amy's there, and I did it for the simple point. I was like, look, I can't do it anymore. Like, I didn't tell her that, but like, I wanted her to see. I was like, I'm leaving. Like, you don't want me, I'm leaving. Like there's nothing here. Like, I'm fine with my mom. Like, I graduated high school, so high school, there's nothing keeping me in this town besides you, and you don't want me, so I'm leaving. So I left. before I had left, she had quit. She had quit. She went off to college in some West Virginia, I'm gonna say. I would occasionally come back into town. She would be there. And she would talk to me, greet me, and all this other stuff. But what she doesn't know is that when I went, okay, so I went home with my dad. She went off and did whatever. Then again, now says one day when I'm still living with my father, my dad's like, hey, look, it's like, you're either gonna have to pay your own way to send yourself to college, working on what you're doing now, or he's like, or do something else. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, I'll go join the army. Join the army. So that's what I did. I went off and joined the great U.S. Army. Well, I went to basic, Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Shortly after, within a month, I was going away to Korea. Korea was my first duty station. Like 04, 05. Didn't really have any choice. So right in there, I knew that I was going to get lights in my whole career. But anyway, so I go over to Korea, and I made a conscious decision on Amy. I got to the point where I couldn't. You could only want somebody for so long, and then you are like, you know what? What's the point? Like, she ain't gonna want me. I'm just gonna do my own thing. So I went and did my own thing, and I ran up to the chapel on the hill. Back then I was slightly religious, close enough. And in the pouring down rain, I literally confessed all my feelings that I had for Amy on that hilltop, in front of God and everybody. And then I told God to do me one favor. I told him, I was like, can you just make her go away? Like, I don't want to wonder what if, I don't want to wonder, I was like, I just want her to go away. Go away. And she did. She went away, and we caught up years later. She was married, had 3 kids. I was not married, had moved back home to the relationship I was in at the time. We weren't doing too well. I think we'd actually broken up, and I wanted to go home and wanted to go home and basically recharge, whatever. So I go home and recharge, run into Amy. I don't know why then she decided, and I was like, look, I was like, it's too late. I was like, you have a husband, you have kids. I was like, I'm not gonna do this. Like, this isn't fair to anybody. I was like, save her marriage for the sake of herself and the children. But I don't think I ever got over her crushing me daily when we would work together. Only for the simple fact is that she wouldn't be with me. It shows I don't know. Can't really say it was a fuckboy. I mean, at 16, you already know what a fuckboy is. So, and I believe that I've never dealt with it. And I could be wrong as shit. But the story is the story. That is how the story played out. Am I affected by it? I don't know. But anyway, if you're from the area, you should know kind of roughly where we are. Yeah, it's dark, but the headlights are at least on enough to at least see. So if I can see, surely you can see the video. But yeah, I don't know. I just have a lot of things going through my mind right now. Like, I want to move to Alabama. Like, I love it there, don't get me wrong. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. 5 hours, 5.5 hours from Florida. Like 7 hours from Panama City. Shit. I would trade in Austin any day of the week for Panama City. And 9 hours from home. Man, you can't beat that with a stick. You go home like a Friday after work, and you got like a 4-day or whatever, but going home. He's gonna drive. It's a nice little drive. It's a little extensive, but it's a lot better than 21 or 18 from Texas. A hell of a lot better. So, plus the original goal was to move to Alabama. A lot of things changed since then. Like, I'm no longer working there at the moment. Getting sent to a whole new team, kind of, to where I will be traveling more. And I see it as a win. It gets me out of the area. It lets me get away from the pain, that I caused myself. Well, it's still there, but the pain that I caused myself. 2, it gives me some money to where maybe in a year or 2 I can move to Alabama and I can do what I want to do. I mean, yeah, my future looks a little bit different now. But the one thing that I always dreamed about, not really always dreamed about, but always thought about was, well, you know what, on a Friday, man, like after work, I was like, I'm going to the beach. I'm like, what? I was like, I'm going to the Gulf to hang out. Like, anybody want to come? Like, $10, you know, gas money. It's simply that easy, or whatever. So I still want to move to Alabama, but at the same time it's kind of scary too, because I don't know anybody there. Granted, I didn't know me when I came to Texas, so maybe it's a good